comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Jets Nation. Welcome to the Jets Duo Show. I'm your host, Jude, joined with my lovely co-host, Italy Jet. How's it going, man?
I'm really hot in my house. That's why I got fans going everywhere. It's hot in my house. That's why I got the tank top on. But it's okay. It's Joe Namath. It's okay.
No, it's all good.
Okay. It's all good. It's Joe Namath. We're good. And my necklace is flying everywhere. You know, it's just a regular day.
Regular day. And I don't know about, all the people in New York probably watching this stream, but we live a bit down the globe, and it is hot.
It's so hot, bro.
So hot down here. It's insane. It's like 98 degrees outside right now, my house in Louisiana. Right. Not fun at all. So it's definitely hot, but we're going to go through all this hotness for this episode today. And we got some spicy stuff to talk about. First off, Chuck Clark, potentially out for the season. I don't even know why I put potentially. He's probably out for the year. Definitely sucks. The Jets signed Adrian Amos. Are we going to add more to the safety room? What is Chuck Clark's impacts on the defense? And, of course, Eric Mangini says the Piss Rodgers is the best Rodgers. That's the topics we're working with today. But first off, let's go ahead and rock out Chuck Clark. So, sadly, Clark apparently tore his ACL, or they say it's a knee injury, but, a knee injury is ACL. Come on now. So it seems like Chuck Clark is out for the year with a torn ACL, which sucks. The Jets got Chuck Clark this offseason for a 2024 7th-round pick. We basically gave up nothing for a dude that hadn't missed a game in a very long time. He held the streak for the most consecutive snaps played in an NFL game. Like, this dude was Iron Man. He was a saint. He was a god. And the next thing you know, he tears his ACL as soon as he gets to the New York Jets. Like, what are the chances of that happening? So, obviously, it's brutal that Chuck Clark is out for the year. But Italy Jet, what is your thoughts on Chuck Clark getting out, and how do you think it's going to impact the defense?
Like, what the actual heck, right? Like, this always happens somehow. We got him for a 6th-round pick. Hasn't missed a game at all. Mr. Iron Man, great player, great leader, great safety. And he could play a little bit of linebacker. He's very good at coverage. He's good box guy. I really think we were going to move him at linebacker a little bit because I think we weren't going to sign Quan Alexander, and probably that was why. So we brought in Amos. Amos is I really like Amos. If we can get the old Amos, that would be great too. But I love the acquisition. It makes a lot of sense. But I know it doesn't make sense to you about Amos. But we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah,
but overall, it sucks. Are we going to get anybody else? I think we're going to, pick up something, but it's not going to be what we all want and think. I think this team really relies on the young guys, and I think that's what's going to happen. I really think that they're going to focus on a lot of the guys from OTAs, training camp, and then maybe we might squeeze in one more. But they got to focus on restructuring Aaron Rodgers' contract and extending Q. So as far as I think they're really, really in a good direction with Tony Adams and Sherwood. But you never know though, right? It's always you never know. So overall, big bummer. Glad we got Amos, and we'll just see what happens.
Right, and Chuck Clark was definitely going to play a big part in the defense this year. As you mentioned, he was going to potentially play some linebacker. That wasn't confirmed or anything, but that's kind of just was a speculation, just because we had Whitehead, we had 2 strong safeties. Of course, one of them was probably going to be used in a linebacker-heavy type of role, and I think Chuck Clark was going to be doing all that, even though he was great in coverage as well. The Jets could have just used him anywhere they wanted on the field. And then sadly, he tears his ACL, which sucks. I will say, I always say there's a silver lining to just about anything. And yeah, it sucks that Mr. Iron Man tore his ACL, but at least he tore it in the early parts of June. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not a doctor. I'm 15 years old, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you what his recovery is going to be for the ACL. But depending on how major the tear was, there is a chance that Chuck Clark could potentially come back for a Week 17 playoff run. I mean, we saw Cam Akers come back.
You're not wrong.
Playoff run in 2022, I want to say.
Yeah,
So,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, there's a 2021. So yeah, there's a chance he could recover very fast, be back for the playoffs. That would be my silver lining from this, but it definitely sucks. But at least the New York Jets signed a replacement for him pretty quick. In fact, we signed Adrian Amos before we even knew about the Chuck Clark injury. So yeah, Adrian Amos is now a New York Jet. The New York Packers are a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have like 7 former Green Bay Packers on the absolutely wicked. But Italy Jet, Adrian Amos is now a New York Jet. What are your thoughts on this?
Great move. If we can get the old Amos back, that would be great. He did really good last couple of years as well. Great run for the Packers as well. He fits this defense. I think he fits everything what we want to do. It's just the only thing is, what type of a veteran is he going to show up to be? Because if this is the old Amos that we're getting, we're going to be just fine. This is going to be a better upgrade than Joyner, even better upgrade than Tony Adams. Maybe he could be better than Whitehead. I don't know. Clark was a better upgrade over Whitehead, but I think this is all going to come down to what we do in training camp, because we're going to have to cut some very good football players. It's what Sal's always said. For the last 2-3 years, we're going to have to cut some very good football players at the safety position and everywhere else on defense, even offense, because of the Pinnock situation. I wanted him to stay. Now you cut Will Parks, right? You cut Will Parks. Now it's like, wow, you just signed him to a year contract and now you're cutting him again. You loved him. So maybe they're cooking up something that we're just not seeing right now. I think they're really high on the LSU kid. I think they're very high on Tony Adams and Trey Dean. I could see that happening. Now you got Amos. Amos is automatically your starter now. He's automatically going to fit in unless Tony Adams just blows up, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's just going to be very interesting.
And indeed it is. And the whole Adrian Amos thing, because whenever we signed Adrian Amos, I was confused. Earlier whenever you said I wasn't a big fan of the Amos thing, this is kind of playing a part into this, because now that Chuck Clark is, out for the season, I'm a big fan of this Amos signing, just because Adrian Amos has shown that he can be a great box safety in the NFL. 2020, Adrian Amos was a top 5 safety in the league. Like, the dude put up great statistical numbers, great analytics. The dude is a stud. And really, every year of his career, he's been very consistent, very reliable. And I'll talk about that a bit later. But the thing I was kind of confused about this Amos thing is simply, we were all expecting the Jets to sign a free safety. And Adrian Amos has experience at free safety, more than Chuck Clark and Jordan Whitehead, but he primarily plays strong safety. And in fact, the past 4 years in Green Bay, he's been a strong safety. So I was kind of just like, so now we're going to have Amos, Chuck Clark, and Jordan Whitehead, 3 strong safeties. What's going to be going on here? I was just thinking, how are the New York Jets going to fit all these players? I was just confused about the entire move. And then we learned that Chuck Clark, there's his ACL. And then we're like, oh, okay, now I understand. So Adrian Amos basically being brought in to be Chuck Clark's replacement. That's the entire thing. Whatever they had plans with Chuck Clark doing, I think they're going to have Adrian Amos do that. And the plan for free safety is still Tony Adams. It's still Jarrett Bernard Converse. Will Parks is out the picture. Maybe Ashton Davis has a great training camp. Who knows what's going to happen?
No. God, I hope not.
That's not going to happen. If Ashton Davis is starting for us week 1, we're in some trouble, ladies and gentlemen.
You're scaring me. No, I'm scared. You're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you. We can't even see you. Yeah, we can't even see him right now. No, but he's got a good point. You know, you got a good point, Jude. I can't hear you, by the way. I can't hear you. I can't really see you at all. But no, he's got a good point because here's the thing. I'm actually reversing this. I think the Jets kind of knew something was going on. I really do think they knew that something was going on behind the scenes. Not necessarily right away, but I think in the beginning they're like, okay, we need depth. So they went out and got depth. It just happened to happen later that crap, Clark might be out for the year. But you make moves like this to get familiar with this team, to get familiar with the system, and then it'll all come together. Is Amos your typical ideal guy you want at that safety position? Maybe. Is he not? Maybe if you're a Bears fan, you probably don't. But he did play for the Bears. So I love this move. I think, we're starting to be called the Green Bay Jets now, or the Green Bay East now. Maybe the New York Packers, something like that. Jude, can you hear me? Yeah, I just can't hear you speak to you. It's okay. Hey, listen, we love our technical difficulties. So, but yeah, overall, what does this do to impact, the defense? I think the defense comes in, and it's just all going to depend on Quan. I think we need to sign Quan now, because Clark was going to be that linebacker position a little bit because he's a good box-to-box guy, good at coverage. Quan, he knows the system. It does stink that, he wants more money, but he did play well. I think he earns that. But right now, we still got to reconstruct Aaron Rodgers. We still reconstruct his contract. We have to extend Q Williams. That's what we need. That should be our priorities right now. But now that this happened, you brought in Amos, but what are you going to do with the linebacker? Because they're really high on Sherwood. They're extremely high on Sherwood. So what do you guys think? Do you think in the chat or in the comments, do you think that they should be confident with Sherwood? Because they are. Do you think we should give a shot to all the young guys? What do you guys think? I want to know what you guys think about that, because the defense, if we lose Sauce Gardner and if we lose Q, then our defense might be in trouble. Do we still have depth, though? We do. We still have a lot of depth, but we still will be in trouble because Q, when he was gone, and even when Sauce Gardner came out to rest, our defense was way, way different. Jude, you back? You good?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good, man.
Awesome. All righty, there we go. You can hear me now. No,
always technical difficulties.
Always technical difficulties, man. Is my mic sounding okay?
Yeah, you're good, man. You're extremely good now. You're good.
I'm going old school right here with the phone. So if I look up, it's because I'm, doing the laptop on the screen here. We're working with, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
But all right, interesting stuff. Gotta love technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But I guess pick up right. So right here, safety room additions. What you thinking here? Is this room good? You think Joe Douglas adds another guy?
No, I think unless something happens drastically, but I mean if you want, we're linked with Hunter at linebacker, but he wants more money. I don't think that's going to happen. Shoot, why not Buda Baker? No,
right,
that ain't going to happen either. So there's trade options, but you have to give up a lot. So, right. But we're in a win now mode, and we're linked with Dalvin Cook, and I won't even mind bringing in Fournette or Hunt. So, do they want to make the big moves and spend like that? Maybe, but I really can't see them doing it. I really think the option is going to be Quan right now.
And as you said, big moves. Kevin Byard, he's been kind of a rumored trade option or trade target this entire off season.
He's been at a mandatory minicamp. It seems like the whole pay cut thing, it's kind of been resolved. And it really just seems like Kevin Byard wants to stay in Tennessee, too. You look at the social media pages. He's not liking anything about leaving Tennessee. In fact, he's like supporting the Titans despite all the stuff going on. So it seems like he wants to stay in Tennessee. That's his home. And he's like, you know what? I'm done. I want to say he played college football at Middle Tennessee State, too. Pretty sure that's where he played his college ball, so that's like home to him. So, that makes a lot of sense as to why he wants to stay. And, you look at the free agent market, John Johnson III is still a free agent. Wouldn't mind him. I know some fans are kind of advocating for that to happen, but I really just don't think another safety gets added to this room simply because, Joe Douglas doesn't value the safety position. I, in fact, was surprised we signed Adrian Amos, and then, it came out we signed Chuck Clark. He's only going to add a safety unless we desperately have to, and we don't even know if Amos or Whitehead is going to play safety this year. We might see one of them as our will linebacker, as that Kawan Alexander replacement. So who knows what the role these two guys are going to play this season. Definitely going to be very interesting. And at the free safety, I feel like they're going to be okay with rolling with Tony Adams, rolling with Jarek Bernard Converse, maybe even a Trey Dean. So who knows what's going on right there. And one thing we're going to talk about real quick.
Yes.
Eric Mangini, former head coach of the New York Jets, was the coach during the Favre days. Wasn't watching back then, but that's just what I know. And he came out and said a lot of good stuff about Aaron Rodgers. So, Italy Jet, you want to take the helm on this one right here?
Well, he had a former Packer on his team. He had Brett Favre. They went to go trade for him. They got him pretty cheap, with the trade value. We brought in a pissed off Brett Favre, but we all knew what his goal was, to go to the Vikings, and he got injured. But that was a Super Bowl caliber team. We had a great running back in Thomas Jones. If Brett Favre was focused on the team, we would have definitely made it to the playoffs, definitely made it to the championship game, and make it to the Super Bowl. I really do think that. We had a great team back then. The only thing is, his head wasn't in it. He was pissed off, but his head wasn't completely in it because he cared about his records more. You're getting a totally different guy. We got someone similar back then but we're getting a totally different guy. This guy was in the darkest retreat, half retired, half not, a little bit more than the other, right? Aaron Rodgers is going to elevate this offense like it's no one's business. He is probably, you could see him as a head coach figure even in some ways. When you get a pissed off player in any sport, that's dangerous. Or a disaster, but mostly dangerous.
Right.
I love it. I love Mangini too. He's one of my favorite coaches, NFL coaches. I'm all for it. Let's keep it up. MVP talk. Let's take it day by day with that. We got to take a day. He had great numbers at the end of the year last year, but man, let's take it day by day. You never count them out. Always never count them out. But let's take it day by day, game by game, month by month, and we'll figure it out. But he's got a really great offense. This offense is so much better now. It's possible.
And that it is. And, it helps a lot that Mangini was the coach whenever Favre was here because he's dealing with almost the same exact situation. Two pissed off quarterbacks coming from the Green Bay Packers after they were there for a very long time, coming to New York and trying to give this team a Super Bowl win. And Mangini, he didn't coach Aaron Rodgers or whatnot, but he knows coaches that have. He, has all these connections. And even the casual fan can know that Aaron Rodgers is just a whole nother level whenever he's pissed. If you guys didn't know what Mangini said, it's, right below me right here. Mangini says Piz Rodgers is the best Aaron Rodgers. He brought up points about how whenever Aaron Rodgers was pissed whenever the Packers drafted Jordan Love, he wins an MVP. He was pissed about his contract situation. He won another MVP, won back-to-back MVPs. Aaron Rodgers is pissed now because the Green Bay Packers were talking about trading him, and Aaron Rodgers didn't even know. He was going to retire, wanted to retire a Green Bay Packer, and they had trade talks behind his back, and Aaron Rodgers was just like, screw you guys, I'm going to the New York Jets. So Aaron Rodgers is pissed now. He has that chip on his shoulder. And like Eric Mangini said, a piss Rodgers is the best Rodgers, and I cannot agree with Eric Mangini more about this. So, Italy Jet, it's time for our closing thoughts. Of course, we have a wild off season ahead of us. Quentin Williams still has to get extended. Rodgers' contract still has to get restructured. But if you have something to close on, what would you close on?
Rodgers is building a lot of connections in the wide receiver position. He's probably going to have some of those guys flown out to California to gain that kind of chemistry. Just like Zach Wilson went to Montana and did the same thing. That's what you do as a quarterback. It's what we like to see. Right. Not only that, this team as a running back unit is a good team, but you don't know what's going to happen when Breece Hall, if he's going to come back or not. Especially in the beginning of this season, he's on pace too, and he looks really good. But we all know how setbacks can happen because Becton has proven that with all of his injuries. He's proven that. Now, even Vera Tucker looks 100% back, and I'm happy about that. But I'm a little concerned about that too. When it comes to the New York Jets as a whole in the running back position, I think we need to go out and get another one. Hunt for Fournette, or even even get Cook. But Cook wants somewhere around $10.5 million. I don't think the Jets are going to do that. For me, I would pay maybe $7 million for 2 years. Maybe I think that in that I would have incentives. Is incentives?
What? Yeah, incentives.
And incentives, yeah. But I think that's what's going to happen. I don't want Zeke here. I don't want Zeke at all here. So that's good. But he's building connections with tight end position, wide receiver position as well. The defense is going to be fine as long as Q and Sauce don't get injured. But the concerns are definitely at that linebacker room. There's definitely concerns at that safety position. But I think we're going to be okay. I think this is a nice break that we're going to have until training camp. They need it. We all need it. It's going to be great. I'm still happy about this team. I still am in love with this team. This is going to be a true test for Saleh and Joe Douglas to take it to the next level, because Joe Douglas has to scramble again for talent in the defense and the offense, and who's going to be a surprise cut. And also, as of right now, I am not concerned about the O-line for now. Knock on wood. All kinds of wood. Wood. Every wood.
Knocking on it.
I love it. I love this team, and we'll just see what happens.
Right. If I were to close on something, Aaron Rodgers spoke to the media a few days ago, and he said that 2 undrafted free agents were impressing him a lot during OTAs. Xavier Gibson and Jason Brownlee. So
I love it.
I'm going to close on keep your eyes on those 2 players during training camp, during joint practices, during preseason games, because you never know what's going to happen with these undrafted free agents, especially with all this Denzel Mims talk. He's probably out of here, and that leaves room for one of these undrafted free agents to take his spot. And goodbye, Denzel Mims. Like I'm saying, goodbye to everybody watching the stream right now. That's all we got for today's episode. Want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Italy Jet, you got a ton of shows. Let's go ahead and plug those right now.
I am doing baseball content. You know me all around with football content. I'm trying to do some basketball content soon. I'm always going to be doing soccer as well. I do about 9 to 15 shows a week and still plugging away with all that. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there this weekend. And if you are a mother as a father figure as well, happy Father's Day to you too. We don't know the situations, but you deserve it as much as the fathers do. But yeah, that's me. I'm Italy Jet. I'm everywhere, man. And Jude, go Jets.
Go Jets is right. Catch me at Jude_Jets, Instagram and Twitter. And once again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there watching. We appreciate you a whole lot. But that's going to do it for today's stream. We will see you guys next Wednesday, hopefully talking about some good Jets news. Peace.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that.